Ah, the Henderson Library. An eagle's favorite spot to study, relax, or just take a nap. But did you know that you can rent movies here absolutely for free? That's what we're going to talk about on Movies at the Library. Hello and welcome to Movies at the Library, the show where we talk about movies that you can rent right now at the Henderson Library absolutely for free. There's been a lot of talk recently about some new movie coming out called Godzilla vs. Badonkadonk. I don't really know too much about it. I think it's like a big lizard fights a monkey or something like that. It seems pretty cool, but that movie got me thinking about another movie about a big lizard called Godzilla. And that seemed pretty cool, so I figured we'd talk about it. So when it comes to older movies like this, I think it's extremely important to discuss the historical implications behind them. During World War II, in 1945, the United States dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. During this time, nobody really knew what was going on. How are they going to survive? How were crops going to regrow? How was Japan going to rebuild after such a devastating attack? And you don't have to be a historian to think that that's going to have a really big impact on the future of an entire country. 9 years later, Godzilla was released. So obviously Godzilla has had many different iterations since its conception in 1954, but when it comes to something that has such a direct historical connection, I think that it is amazing to be able to go back and watch this movie in its original form and see directly how the people were feeling at the time. It's an amazing time capsule. So this movie starts off really quickly. We're right into the action. The first thing we know is that a boat has mysteriously sank off the coast of Japan, and nobody really knows why or how. But there were reports of a giant sea monster off the coast that could have possibly been the cause of the destruction. And not long after this initial incident, that same monster attacks a seaside village. So while we only see the monster's feet during the first attack, it doesn't take very long until Godzilla shows up and we get to see his first official reveal. And I gotta say, for this being their first attempt, they really knocked it out of the park. So unlike King Kong from the 1930s, which used stop motion to give life to its monsters, Godzilla instead has a man in a suit destroying very small sets, and through their use of different camera tricks, makes it look like the sets are real villages and the people in the suits are giant monsters. And for 1954, I think it's extremely effective. Meanwhile, other characters are arguing that Godzilla should be preserved and studied. It's a new life form. We've never seen anything like this before. But on the same hand, the destructive capabilities of this monster are far beyond anything the world has ever seen before. Wow, what's that? Is that symbolism? Is that symbolism in my monster movie? What is that? What? So the next time Godzilla shows up and attacks, the government is ready. They're prepared. They have tons of weapons and they are ready to destroy this monster. Obviously, Godzilla is completely unaffected and at this point goes on a rampage, destroying a huge part of the Tokyo Bay. And this Tokyo Bay attack scene is easily the best in the entire movie. You really get to see Godzilla in action. We get to see Godzilla's nuclear breath destroying the city. There are so many really cool wide shots of Godzilla in the distance. It really does a great job at showing the scale of Godzilla and his destructive power. It's a really breathtaking scene and honestly holds up amazingly well all this time later. So, being completely out of solutions, the Japanese government hires Snake Plissken from Escape from New York to try an experimental weapon in order to kill Godzilla. So Snake makes this weapon, but he is very clear that he does not want to have to use it because of the fear of this weapon being used again in the future in the wrong hands. But in the end, he decides that it is the only way to save Japan. So, in an act of heroicism, he uses the weapon to kill Godzilla, but also kills himself in the process. So the movie ends with the message that nuclear weapons should never be used, otherwise another Godzilla could rise in its place and completely destroy humanity. And that's pretty much the plot of the original Godzilla movie. I think that it works really well as a really cool monster movie, but also works amazingly as a time capsule to see the fear and the representation of that fear for an entire country. Future Godzilla movies kind of lose the message of anti-nukes to an extent. It's definitely still there, but eventually the big appeal was more about the epic monster fights and less about the themes of anti-nukes. But because of those heavy themes of anti-nuclear weapons, this movie really only feels like something that Japan could make during this time. And then in 1998, America went and ruined everything. If the movie that you rent looks like this, do not rent it. This movie is terrible. So in 1998, the duo who made Independence Day, and who would eventually go on to make The Day After Tomorrow in 2012, were hired to make an original Godzilla movie specifically for America. So they saw the original movie, and then they saw Jurassic Park 2, and they thought, okay, we got a lot of cool symbolism, and we got a lot of interesting ideas, but let's make something like this one. They tried to turn Godzilla into the next big blockbuster event that would make billions of dollars. They put Godzilla in Taco Bell ads.
Hey, Godzilla, want something to drink?
Godzilla's at Taco Bell on 4 collector cups, and now you can put them in a cool Godzilla cup holder.
In the original movie, he is completely invincible to traditional weaponry, and it's only through another super weapon that the super weapon can be destroyed, which is extremely important to the entire movie, to the themes, and to the character of Godzilla. But in the 1998 movie, Godzilla is constantly running away. That is all he does the entire movie. If he's not destroying something, he's just running away from helicopters, missiles, and bullets, implying that they could destroy him and they could harm him, which goes completely against the entire character and purpose of the movie. Sounds to me like America didn't want to portray the military as weak and useless to another power. And not only is the character just written poorly, not only is that stupid as hell that America thinks that Godzilla could be defeated with guns and missiles, but it just looks stupid. Like, it looks just like a big T-Rex. They saw Jurassic Park and said, let's do that. The entire monster is CG the entire time. It looks terrible. Trust me, this is not the movie you want to watch. If older movies aren't your thing and you don't want to have to sit through a movie from 1954 that's in black and white, I get that. I would highly recommend you check out the 2016 movie Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla, which unfortunately is not available to rent at the library, is far more respectful to the Godzilla character and acts as an amazing remake of the original movie, but in modern times. The themes of anti-war and anti-nuclear weapons are all present, and even a lot of plot points are carried over from the original movie. Godzilla looks so cool and goes through so many different transformations throughout the movie. I cannot understate how amazing Shin Godzilla is. If you're going to watch a modern Godzilla movie, definitely watch this one. There's also the 2014 Legendary Pictures Godzilla, which is like setting up some kind of like big cinematic universe thing. Again, back to the monkey. Like I don't know anything about that, but I mean that's cool too. If you want to check that out, I won't stop you. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I think Godzilla is super cool. And if you are interested in getting into the franchise before the new movies come out, I would highly recommend taking a look back at the original and checking out where it all started from. Thanks for watching, guys.